NASCAR announces updates to their short track package ahead of their first short track race of the season. The changes include changing the spoiler length to 2 inches and the removal of 3 diffuser strakes. And this will result in a 30% reduction of downforce. What do you guys think? Freddie?
I mean, spot on. They had to do something. The short track package was awful last year. They were just getting, and the longer we went on with the same package, it was going to get worse because all we do is get better. Everybody gets better. So you just keep making the box smaller and smaller, and you will see less and less passing. Listen, this is a step in the right direction. We've talked about, less downforce, hopefully smaller spoiler, taking them strakes off. I'm not engineered background enough to know what the difference is. They say 30%, I'll believe them. And just hopefully it promotes better racing because we can't have what we had last year. I'm interested to know, and I don't know if anybody's asked this question, why Bristol and Dover are not included. I'm assuming just banking. Concrete.
Yep.
Just the load on the cars, I would assume. But yeah, I'm spot on. Just let's try something because we can't continue on what we did last year.
Yeah, spot on with all the exclamation points. Like the road course package and the short track package last year did not work. And those are supposed to be those marquee races, those that gets fans excited. That's why you've got all these short tracks or the road courses on there now. That's why you're getting more short tracks. And when you have races consistently, you had Martinsville last year, Richmond, and the road courses, like you can't have that. You've got to figure this out. And when you've got Phoenix hosting the championship race, you've got to have a product on the racetrack that gets people excited. Hopefully the cars are sliding around a little bit, that it's hard to break, and it's going to be interesting to see if this works, but this is a big test, and they had to do something. You could not go into this year and not do anything. I'm encouraged to see what this does, but I'm also, part of me is like, if this doesn't work, then what?
Yeah,
and that's the concern.
I like this car, we talked about it from day one, safety concerns aside. This car was designed to be great on road courses. This was everybody's thought. Well, this is more of a sports car. It's gonna be great on road courses. Well, that's kind of lackluster. Short tracks have been awful. Super speedways awful. Mile and a half yesterday, pretty bad.
And that's concerning to me. Right? I mean, all of a sudden, if yesterday becomes what we kind of see now on intermediate tracks and mile and a halves, and if the short track package doesn't work as anticipated, all of a sudden you're looking at a situation where, wait a second, the car doesn't work well on road courses and short tracks, which we kind of knew. The fix that we thought was going to work didn't work. And now we're starting to see this great product on the intermediate tracks kind of go the other direction. Then what?
Yeah, and I think you guys talked about last night. Harvick was talking about keeping teams on their toes.
Yeah.
The longer you let teams the longer the package stays the same, the teams are just going to keep getting better at it. And we talked about this last year, where eventually you're going to see the cream rise to the top, and it's kind of going to go back to the balance it was before, where the parity's not so much there anymore, and we're getting there. So now, like you saw yesterday at Hendricks 1, 2, 3. Now maybe they just had the fastest cars and they just was gripped up best for them in the conditions there were yesterday. But it's going to be interesting to see moving forward. I'm just hoping to God we have a good race at Phoenix. Which Phoenix, I don't want to judge the package on Phoenix either, because
it's hard.
Since Jamie McMurray came on here last year and said we haven't had a good race at Phoenix since 1989. So the Phoenix racetrack itself, I don't think induces itself to great racing. But
I'm curious about Richmond, though. You've got Coda and Richmond, which is a road course and a short track coming up, and that's going to be, I think, a better test than Phoenix is, and to see where things are at. We'll see. And to go back to your point about the teams getting their hands on this offseason was the first time that the teams really had their hands wrapped around this car. Because a year ago, they had offseason testing with this car. They hadn't even settled on the rules package yet. They're still figuring this out. Now this car was in their shops for the offseason. And I talked to so many different people, engineers, crew chiefs, team people, and they all said the same thing. Once we get our hands on this, and yes, it's a kit car, quote unquote, and yes, we're in a box and what we can do, but when you put so many smart people and these organizations that have 400, 500 people in their organizations that can get their hands around this car, they're going to find things that is going to be the difference. And there was a little bit of, last year was about parity, and you saw 19 different winners, but this year you're going to see, as you said, the cream rise to the top, and I think that is through 2 races on non-super speedways, because you can't count Daytona. I think it's part of why you haven't really seen a team kind of come out of nowhere and rise up and do well. Even RCR, and people throw that out there, they won 3 races last year on road courses and intermediate tracks, and Austin won on the super speedway at Daytona. So Like they had a lot of speed last year. So
then it should have won more. Probably
Reddick should have won 5-6 races easy, but they had all sorts of issues. And so them having speed this year is no surprise. We haven't seen that mid-pack team come up and all of a sudden, wait, where did they come from? They got their act together.
Yeah.
To that point, though, do you think there are any changes that NASCAR may look to make mid-season to try and kind of help with that excitement and with the lack of consistency, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, it just depends on where this car is at and what they can do. And I'm always hesitant to go down the technology road because it's just not my forte. And I start saying things that make no sense because I know nothing.
Same.
I can't even change a tire. Okay, like listen, it's not good. I do think NASCAR, the tool Kevin said that was right. Is you have to throw teams a curveball. You can't let them get, I don't want to say complacent, but you can't let them get comfortable with this car and what they know is going to happen and how this is going to react. And you have to continually adjust and maybe throw things away. Maybe it's a time when you go back to how it used to be in the 90s when all of a sudden NASCAR would issue a midweek rules change. And by the way, the Pontiacs are going to have lower spoilers this week and Ford's going to have a higher spoiler. I don't know if it's something of that nature, but I know NASCAR's got a lot of levers to pull, and they're going to have to pull them at some point if this continues.